What's up, Madridistas? Kiyan, Sobhani here, coming at you on a Friday, hitting you with some bonus content. We are in between the Chelsea first leg and the Cadiz game tomorrow. Wanted to release some stuff for you guys. But before we get to that, super important, as I've mentioned yesterday, if you're coming to London next week for the game, make sure to come out to the podcast we're doing in London on Wednesday. That's happening just before the Champions League games on Wednesday. We're going to hang out, record a podcast, Q&A session. I'm giving away signed stuff from the Real Madrid players, and you get to meet other Madridistas and have a ton of fun with us. We really look forward to seeing you guys. So if you're in London, UK, heck, you're in Europe, anywhere, catch a flight. Come over and meet us. We're not going to do this Europe podcast thing. We're definitely not doing it again this year. And I don't know if we're going to do it again next year either. I think we're kind of done with these podcast tours, but we'll do them occasionally. We'll probably do preseason again in Vegas, California, wherever Real Madrid go. But if you're in Europe, this might be your last chance for a long time. So make sure to come out. The link to book your spot is in the show notes. Oh, you have to do it today because prices go up tomorrow. So do it on Friday, April 14th. Otherwise, you'll have to pay more if you do it Saturday. That being said, here is some bonus content heading into the weekend. Clips taken from the world-famous Real Madrid Mailbag, which goes out once a week exclusively over on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. The full episode is there. The questions that are included in today's clip for free are questions like, if Real Madrid wins the Champions League, who are the top 3 Balon d'Or nominees? That's question 1. Question 2 is, can Chelsea overcome the 2-0 deficit in the second leg? And question number 3, what are the main differences between Fede Valverde and Rodrygo on the right wing? If you want access to the full episode, plus a ton of bonus content, including next week's post-game show from Stamford Bridge, 1 hour after the game, patreon.com/Managing Madrid. You get a live, you get a Zoom link to join the call live and interact with us virtually face-to-face. So do that. See you in London. See you on patreon.com/Managing Madrid. Happy weekend and enjoy today's clips. Let's go. Adar Zalukovic says, if Real Madrid win the Champions League, who do you think will be the top 3 nominees for the Balon d'Or?
It will depend a lot on how Madrid end up winning it. If it comes down to Benzema being as brilliant as he was last season, even though that's quite unlikely, it'll probably be down to Benzema. But right now, I have to assume that Vinicius would be there because he's been in great form in recent weeks compared to what happened last season, where he kind of slowed down a little bit during that last third of the season. But, those two would be the main, Madrid's main candidates, and you have to assume that a member of another club, a player from another club would be included. And right now, I have no reason to believe that that player wouldn't be Haaland.
I just assumed that Messi is going to be number 1 on the list because he won the World Cup. And they're gonna hand it to him, like, oh, this is, he finally won the World Cup, and this is such a great story. It almost is in writing, no matter what happens. Even if Benzema and Vinicius score 25 goals in the Champions League final, I just feel like
timeline's not great for that, though. Are they really going to give him that award? Pretty much a year after the World Cup.
They're counting the World Cup in this particular season for the Balon d'Or.
But
I think it's already decided. I don't agree with it, but I think they've already decided it, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it would probably be something like Messi, Haaland, plus one of Vinny and Benzema, or something like that. I would assume. Yeah, but there's still a lot of time to go, and we'll see. But if Real Madrid win the literally the question, it's in the question, if Real Madrid win the Champions League, who are the top 3? So you at least get one of Vinny or Benzema in there, I think.
Yeah. I don't think this is the year Real Madrid beat the award, no matter what happens in the Champions League, though. The fact that the team was so mediocre in La Liga will definitely hurt Madrid's chances. And as you say, Messi will probably win it.
Second part of this question is Shay says, separately, I wouldn't write Chelsea off yet. They've made the Champions League final thrice, every time after sacking their coach mid-season, and twice with coaches nobody had ever heard of and nobody would remember, like Avram Grant and Di Matteo. I think Lampard is perfect for them. Just boost the morale with the experience he has and just play their talents without much tactical input.
The lead is definitely not that huge. So, I mean, as long as Chelsea score a goal in the first 20 minutes, the tie is completely open. But I wasn't impressed by what I saw last night from Chelsea, nor I was impressed by what we've all seen from them so far this season. So I wouldn't say that the odds are very high at the moment, even though it's only a 2-goal lead, and a 2-goal lead again could evaporate very soon if Chelsea managed to score a goal in the first 30 minutes or so. So Real Madrid will still need to show up for sure. Don't take this game for granted as they did in the return leg against Liverpool, when we all knew it was over, no matter what happened, pretty much. But this time they will have to show up and at least play with composure for the first 70 minutes or so, and then try to take advantage of the opportunities that Chelsea are going to present because of their aggressive or potentially aggressive style of play, given that they need to come back. So Real Madrid on the counter should probably try to capitalize on a few opportunities, and then it would obviously make their job way easier. But I wasn't impressed by what I saw from them last night, even though they started the game really well. And again, I wouldn't say that their odds are very high at the moment. I would probably put it in, I don't know, 75-25% odds for Madrid, something like that.
That's about right to me. I won't take it for granted, and I think it's not done yet. But I think, realistically speaking, just looking at this Chelsea team, first of all, they have to score, and scoring is their biggest problem. So that's one thing. But even if they put it together finally against us and they start scoring, which will leave as a possibility, they have to start Havertz in the next game. I don't know how you can survive without not having your best goal scorer. And if Havertz is your best goal scorer, that says something. But the other aspect of this is I just don't think they can defend us. They are so bad defensively, and they will be open from the first minute. It was a miracle they didn't concede more goals last night. After they got the red card, they completely opened up even more and decided to go for it, or just leave no numbers back there. They're going to leave numbers from the first minute. So as likely as it is that they score early to make this a game, I think it's also very realistic that we score early too. So it's it's part of, like, again, they have to get it together offensively for the first time this season, essentially, and they have to somehow keep Vinicius and Benzema and whoever else is on the field, but mainly those two. They have to keep those guys in check in transition, which is a difficult task.
Yeah. Man, I know we all had praise for Enzo because of the World Cup, but that signing was a straight up robbery, man. It was just, wow, that transfer fee. It's just, he didn't look impressive. He hasn't looked impressive since he signed for Chelsea. I don't think it's just a ridiculous transfer fee, in my opinion, given what I saw, even though obviously you have to give him some time to adapt and all that. But wow, that was tough.
I give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's a really, really great player. And I think he's been thrown into this Chelsea team mid-season. The whole team they have no idea what they're doing. Manager sacked. Last night he was playing in a deeper role. And I would give it more time. But
yeah, sure.
I think it's tough for everyone in that Chelsea team right now, to be quite honest with you. We have another question about Chelsea coming up that kind of touches on the subject.
Yeah.
One more from Adrian Rios. Adrian says, I'd love to hear you guys talk about the tweaks Carlo Ancelotti has done tactically to allow Real Madrid to play with a threatening right wing.
the main trick to me has been going for a more attacking version of a right winger instead of playing Valverde there. That's obvious. We'll get to see that. And then depends on whether or not you're liking what you're seeing from Rodrygo as a starter. I'm not entirely convinced. I think it's a true battle for the starting spot in that position. And Asensio obviously made a big impact off the bench last night. I think Asensio is scoring in a more efficient way than Rodrygo so far this season with less minutes played, I would say. Rodrygo, on the other hand, is probably more creative and helps the team and the team's flow of the offense more than Asensio. This is something Ancelotti also acknowledged and said during the post-match press conference. So, as long as Benzema and Vinicius keep finding ways to score, I'm fine with Rodrygo playing and helping the flow of the offense there. But it's true that whenever Real Madrid need a goal, Asensio might be the best option for Madrid. But if we're asked about what changes Ancelotti made to have more of a threat from that spot, it's clearly that right now it's been not playing Valverde as a right wing, which I think we were all pretty much advocating for this to happen much earlier than it did.
Yeah, I think that's obviously the main and obvious one. Without having to go into too much detail, is the fact that Fede is not playing on the right wing. And I think Rodrygo, despite him not scoring consistently, just brings so much good to the table in unlocking space for Vinicius and Benzema. So I'm not that critical of him not scoring. I want him to score, obviously, and I think he needs to score, put some chances away. But I think he's done so much good on the field that I'm totally more than okay with him starting. And I also really happy that Asensio is contributing so much off the bench. Keep it this way. Keep it the way it is. I think the main difference between Fede and Rodrygo, other than obvious differences that, Rodrygo is a line breaker, he's more attacking oriented. Rodrygo is much more unpredictable offensively as an opponent to deal with. Fede, you kind of know he's going to stay to the right. With Rodrygo, although like last night he was on the right more than he was in previous games, he's all over the place. And so he's dragging defenders constantly with his movement. And he's going down the middle, he's going down the left, he's going down the right. And so that to me is a huge difference between him and Fede. And I think that has helped tremendously offensively for Vinicius and Benzema. So
his moves off the ball are quite possibly the main attribute he has at this point than when he's not scoring. His moves off the ball have been helping, as you say, both Benzema and Vinicius, and he's been great in that regard, combining with those two. And also whenever he doesn't have the ball, he always goes, not always, but he goes to the left, and that releases Vinicius a little bit more because, one defender has to take care of Rodrygo instead of, 3 defenders taking care of the Vinicius assignment. So he's been very, very helpful in that regard, yeah.